Dawn in Willow Creek smelled like candied orange, fresh snow, and roasted coffee. A combination capable of waking even the most December-resistant hearts. The town lights flickered as if someone had spent the night blowing stars onto every rooftop. And the main street, that row of shops that looked straight out of a cozy catalog, stretched awake with lazy charm. The café Pinecone Morning, however, had been awake long before the first snowflakes touched the ground. Because its owner, Marian Clarke, was an Aries, and an Aries with her own business doesn't sleep. She plans, checks, perfects, and silently complains about any plan she didn't personally design. Marian, 45, curvy, beautiful without asking permission first. Dark hair tied in a bun held together by sheer determination, adjusted the red scarf she had left draped over the chair the night before. The place was warm, scented with butter and vanilla, and in the middle of the wooden floor, circling as if she were the county's chief inspector, was her tiny brown toy poodle, Piña, the real boss. "Don't start," Marian said, as the poodle sniffed a box near the door as if it contained dynamite. "I haven't even opened yet." Piña stared at her with those round eyes that meant only one thing. "Open that box right now or I will revoke my canine loyalty." Marian sighed. Perfect. First day of Advent and I'm already taking orders from a 3-kilo dog. At the door, right where the rug began, there was a small box wrapped in craft paper and tied with a dark green ribbon. No name, no sender, just a number. 1. Great, Marian muttered. Either it's a secret admirer or someone convinced I need more projects. She opened it. Inside, a small jar of spiced sugar, a little bag of dried orange zest, and a note written in neat handwriting. Day 1. Start with something small. Lots of cinnamon. Very little fear. Marian frowned. What do you mean, little fear? I'm not afraid. I have, precaution. And a list of bills. Piña lifted a paw and gently tapped the note, as if underlining, sure. She didn't have time to analyze it further. The bell over the door chimed, and a gust of cold air entered along with a man wearing a navy thermal jacket, hair slightly damp from the snow, and a kind sort of tiredness in his eyes. Logan Hayes, 30, Leo, paramedic, dangerous smile and jeans that fit him far too well. "Good morning, Marian," he said, with that deep voice seemingly designed for coffee commercials. "Has Pinecone's official advent started yet?" "Something started," she replied, trying not to let the mysterious box betray anything. Logan greeted Piña, who ran toward him like he was a long-lost relative. The dog jumped around, excited. Absolute betrayal. "Well," Logan joked, "someone here is happy to see me. The dog has no standards," Marian shot back. Logan raised an amused eyebrow. "And you?" "Double coffee and the story about why you're arguing with a box at 7 a.m.? Marian inhaled deeply. "Wonderful, universe. Not only do you send mysterious gifts, you also send a charming Leo at the crack of dawn. Anything else?" "A live telenovela?" She prepared his coffee while he eyed the box with curiosity. Piña, seated beside him, was also watching the scene like a silent ally. "What have you got there?" Logan asked. "Nothing," she said far too quickly. "So nothing comes with a green ribbon?" He teased. Marian placed the mug in front of him. "It's just a Christmas detail. From the spirit of the season." He took a sip, closed his eyes for a second, and let out a satisfied sigh. "This could bring someone back from the dead." "That's the idea," she replied. "Long shift?" 12 hours. Minor accidents, a big scare or two. The usual. People don't know how to walk on ice, but they insist. Then he nodded toward the box. "And you? Ready for the famous cookie contest?" Marian groaned. "Don't start. I haven't entered since..." "Well, since my ex-husband said competing was a waste of my time." Logan looked at her with those eyes that saw more than she liked. "Then it's time you won." A strange heartbeat hit her, as if Piña had tugged her heart with a little string. But before she could respond, the bell rang again and the first customer walked in. Logan left a bill on the counter, patted Piña, and smiled at her. "See you tomorrow, Marian. And if day 1 starts like this, I'd say you've got 24 very interesting days ahead." He stepped out into the snow. Marian looked down at the mysterious box. Piña nudged it with her nose. "No," Marian said. "Don't start." "I'm not getting into any kind of game." But the truth was different. Oh, holy Advent. This definitely feels like it's going to become a problem. The next morning dawned with a sky as white as sifted flour over Willow Creek. By 7:05, Pinecone Morning already smelled like warm butter, orange zest, and that spice blend Marian considered her battle perfume. Piña trotted around the shop, convinced she was commanding an invisible army. Marian was checking the coffee machine when she heard the tap she both feared and expected. Another package, craft paper, green ribbon. Number 2, Piña sat in front of it as if standing guard. "You're going to end up without breakfast if you keep encouraging mysteries," Marian grumbled, though she was already bending down to pick up the box. "I don't need this. I need customers, sleep, and a life without surprises. Why am I nervous? Why?" She opened the package. Inside were a tiny jar of rosemary honey, a star-shaped cookie cutter, another note. "Day 2, choose sparkle even if it's small." Marian swallowed. "Well, that's not creepy. It's motivational with pretensions," she tried to joke. But something in the phrase hit a nerve she didn't want witnesses for. Piña whimpered and placed a paw on the star. "Don't even dream about it," Marian said. "I'm not getting my hopes up because some stranger decided to play pastry angel," the bell chimed. Marian didn't even look up. She simply said, "Good morning. I knew you'd be here early," answered a warm, masculine voice. Marian's head shot up too fast. Logan, black jacket this time. Gray beanie, cheeks flushed from the cold of the ambulance shift. "You knew?" she repeated. He smiled, that smile that filled the room like a lighthouse. "Aries gets up early even when they don't need to." She raised an eyebrow. "Are you an astrologer now?" "No," he said, leaning his elbows on the counter. "Just observant. And what does Secret Advent bring today?" "Bad. Very bad. Why did he know? Why did he care?" "It's nothing." Marian covered the cookie cutter with her hand as if hiding stolen jewels. Logan didn't insist. But his gaze was direct, gentle. The kind that doesn't push but opens doors. "Can I see?" he asked at last. "No." "Then just tell me if it made you smile." Marian opened her mouth to deliver sarcasm, but Piña chose that moment to nudge the star toward Logan with her nose. Betrayal number 2. Logan laughed, that low, husky sound that seemed to melt the snow on the windows. "Well, Piña trusts me. Piña trusts anyone who smells like cookies," Marian said. "Then we're even because I trust anyone who bakes like you." There was a second of silence. A second where Marian felt her chest too full, as if the air were mixing dangerously with powdered sugar. "Long shift today?" she asked quickly, seeking safe ground. "Yes, rough night. Lots of ice and little human caution," he replied without drama. "Thought one of your coffees might save me." Marian prepared the cup with double the foam he never asked for but always enjoyed. While she worked, he walked to the small test counter where she was trying recipes. "All this for the contest?" he asked. "No." Marian was a terrible liar. "It's an experiment. Smells like the perfect cookie. Can you stop sniffing everything?" She huffed. "Not if I want to learn." "You said competing was a waste of time." "I say it's time you won." "I never said that," she protested. He tilted his head. "You said it with fear." "Not with words." The air went still. Marian felt that internal tug that comes right before an irrational decision. Or a kiss, and neither of those was convenient. "Logan," she began. He lifted his hands. "Relax, I'm not going to pressure you. Not about the contest." "Or anything." Marian swallowed. "Why is he looking at me like that? Why is my stomach doing somersaults?" "Focus. Don't melt." Logan smiled faintly. "But I'll say one more thing." "What?" "That star cutter suits you." Marian felt heat rise to her cheeks. "You're pushing it, paramedic." "Then I'd better go before I say something worse." He laughed. He grabbed his coffee, scratched Piga's head, and headed to the door. "See you tomorrow, Marian." She thought about not responding, but the words came out on their own, soft. "Yes, tomorrow." The door closed. Marian looked at the Day 2 box. Piña sighed, as if she already knew everything. "No," Marian said, crossing her arms. "Don't look at me like that. Nothing's happening." "I'm not liking this." "I'm not starting anything." And Piña, with a very short bark, made it clear that she didn't believe him. The snow in Willow Creek fell that afternoon in slow, thick flakes, as if someone had set the storm to romantic but not dangerous. The town lights turned on early, giving the outside the look of a giant snow globe. Inside Pinecone Morning, the atmosphere was different. Warm, golden, scented with butter browning in the pan. Marian was whisking a thick dough for test cookies, focused, brows furrowed, jaw tight from so much self-control. Piña, who detected tension like an emotional metal detector, sat in her round bed watching her with a canine frown. "Don't start," Marian said without looking at her. "Today there are no mysterious boxes. Today there's only work." Line number 1 of the day. She wanted there to be a box. The bell on the door chimed. Marian didn't need to turn around to know who it was. His energy filled the room before his voice did. Logan, dark jacket, soft and tired smile. "Hi," he said. "Am I interrupting?" "Always," Marian replied, though her voice came out less sharp than intended. Piña ran toward him as if she owed him back rent. "What a welcome," Logan laughed, bending down to pet her. "I must smell good today." "You smell like a double shift," Marian said. "And like cold, and like cookies," he added, approaching the counter. She hesitated a second but decided not to pretend. "Want to try one?" "I'm adjusting the recipe for the contest." "Yes." Logan picked one up carefully. "Not sure I should. My palate's exhausted from cheap duty shift coffee." Marian bit the inside of her cheek, nervous. Logan took a bite.
He went still. She swallowed. "What? Is it bad?" "It's..."
He closed his eyes for a second. "Delicious." Marian let out a nervous laugh. "Great, now my laugh is shaking." "Marian, get it together." He set the cookie down on the plate, more serious now, but in a soft, intimate way. "Thanks for letting me try it." "I needed this." Marian leaned against the counter unintentionally, but not stopping herself either. "Tough day?" Logan exhaled, resting his forearms on the wood. "A little kid, wrist fracture." Crying, panic, terrified parents. Then he added, almost in a whisper, "And an elderly lady who didn't want to leave her house because she was afraid of the ice. She slipped on her porch." Marian lowered her head. "Is she okay?" "Yes. We took her to the hospital. But those things..." He rubbed the back of his neck. "They keep spinning around in here for a while." She felt a strange, soft knot in her chest. "You all do a lot more than people see," she said. Logan smiled without joy. "Sometimes I wish I could switch the world off for a while. Just pause." Marian nodded. "I usually pause by baking. Or cleaning, or reorganizing. Or pretending I can do everything alone." The last sentence slipped out fragile. Logan looked up. "Pretending?" She swallowed. "My ex used to say competing was a waste of time. That the café was an expensive hobby. That I obsessed over things I shouldn't." She blew out a breath, laughing without humor. "And guess what? I still hear his voice every time I try something new." Logan studied her without rush, without judgment. "That man knew nothing about you." Marian pressed her lips together. "He knew how to make me doubt. And I let him..." Piña walked to her and placed her paws on her leg. Logan spoke in a lower voice. "You know what I see? I see a woman who keeps this town awake, fed and happy. Who creates home for people who don't always have one. And who makes cookies that can save an entire day." Marian felt warmth rise up her throat. "Don't cry. You don't cry, you berm, but don't cry." "Well, sometimes." "Logan," she whispered. "Marian, I'm not trying to fix you. I'm just here, if you want to talk, or be quiet. Or taste bad cookies." She laughed softly. "And why are you doing this?"
He tilted his head because... He paused.
"Because I want to be close." There was a silence loaded with soft electricity, something that didn't have a name yet, but already had shape. Marian looked down at the bowl of cookie dough. "I don't know if I'm ready. I'm not in a hurry," he said. "Yes, I'm a Leo, but not a hungry lion." She raised an eyebrow. "Don't use the horoscope as an excuse to be irresistible." "I don't need the excuse," he smiled. She turned her head but couldn't help smiling too. Piña let out a short bark, approving the scene. Marian breathed, long and deep. "Thanks for coming," she said at last. "Anytime you want," he replied. And they stayed like that for a long moment, not touching, but touching all the same. Outside, the snow fell thicker, as if celebrating that small collapse of the wall Marian had been holding up for years. Evening fell early over Willow Creek, with a sky so gray it seemed to have forgotten how to use light. But inside Pinecone Morning, the world was different. Golden, warm, scented with butter, orange zest, and powdered sugar drifting through the air like a sweet mist. Marian had closed an hour earlier. Or so the sign on the door claimed, because she was still inside. Reorganizing trays, testing frostings, doing exactly what an Aries does when she's nervous, working as if the apocalypse depended on the oven temperature. Piña slept in her round bed, exhausted from watching her human spin around like an anxious comet. A soft knock sounded on the door. Marian didn't even flinch. "We're closed," she announced without looking up. The door opened anyway. "I know," said Logan's voice, that perfect blend of calm and spark. Marian spun on her heels. "How did you get in?" "The door was just pushed to," he smiled. She crossed her arms. "You shouldn't sneak into closed businesses after hours." "You're right," he lifted a paper bag. "But I brought hot chocolate from the plaza stand. And I thought you might need reinforcements." "Okay, universe." Now this is affectionate pursuit. Logan set the bag on the counter while Marian tried very hard not to melt. He'd taken off his jacket. He wore a dark sweater that defined his shoulders a little too well, and he still had melted snowflakes in his hair. "What are you testing?" he asked. "Cookies, several. All failures. Impossible. Don't start." Logan approached the bowl like someone examining a delicate scene. "Can I?"
he asked, pointing to a spoon. Marian hesitated. A lot, but nodded. He tasted the raw dough, closed his eyes. Made that subtle expression just the faintest curve of his lips. "God," he murmured. "This is incredible. It doesn't taste the same once it's baked," she muttered. Logan scooped another bit, this time bringing the spoon to his lips unnecessarily slowly. Heat shot up Marian's spine. "No, no, no, no. Don't look at me like that while you savor the dough. This is not an adult romantic movie trailer, Logan." He opened his eyes again. "I think your oven's too hot. My oven is perfectly calibrated." "Your oven, yes," he said, tilting his head. "But your temperature is something else." Marian choked on air. "Excuse me?" "You're tense. You burn yourself out trying to reach the perfect result." She opened her mouth to protest, but he was already lowering the oven temperature. "Try it like this," he said. "Less heat. More time." Marian felt something inside her give way. Because he was right. She hated him a little for that. "Fine," she conceded. "But only because I'm desperate." While the oven worked, she prepared the next batch of dough. Logan stood beside her, not invading her space, but too close to ignore. Their arms brushed whenever she rolled the dough, and that minimal contact sparked tiny, constant sparks. Piña opened one eye, assessing. He broke the silence. "You know, cooking with someone is intimate." "No, it's not." "Oh, yes it is." "I disagree," she huffed. "Then look at me." Marian looked up before she could stop herself. And she saw him close, calm, steady, looking at her in a way that didn't demand permission, but waited for an answer. The air grew thicker, as if the kitchen had shrunk the world down to 2 people and 1 sleeping toy poodle. "You shouldn't look at me like that," she whispered. "Like what? Like..." She swallowed. "Like I matter more to you than is reasonable." He smiled, slow, beautiful. "Marian, I think we're past the reasonable phase." She felt a deep tug, one she'd been trying to ignore for weeks. The oven timer rang. Both of them startled and laughed at the same time. Marian pulled out the cookies. This time. They looked perfect, golden, soft, exactly what she needed. Logan stared at them with genuine pride. "Knew you could do it." "Shut up," she said, but smiling. He lifted a warm cookie. "Try it with me." He broke it in half, offered her 1 piece. Their fingers brushed, a tiny contact that became a current. Marian swallowed, without having eaten yet. "Logan." He stepped closer. Didn't touch her, didn't rush her, didn't push. He just looked at her. "You don't have to say anything," he whispered. "Just, if you want me to stop, say so." She said nothing. Because she didn't want him to stop. Logan leaned in slowly, giving her room to pull away. She didn't.
He brushed her cheek with the tip of his nose soft, almost invisible. Marian closed her eyes.
He moved his mouth closer to hers, millimeters. Just that, Piña barked abruptly.
They jumped apart. "Piña!" Marian exclaimed. The poodle watched them from the floor, clearly offended that she hadn't been included in the scene. Logan laughed silently. "I think your supervisor isn't ready for this level of tension." Marian covered her face with her hands. "Good grief. This is ridiculous. Or irresistible," he added. She peeked at him through her fingers. He, with that slight smile, asked again, "Do you want me to stay a little longer?" Marian felt her heartbeat thump in her throat. "Yes," she whispered. And while Piña sighed dramatically, Marian and Logan kept working together, shoulder to shoulder, in a kitchen that was already far too warm. And not because of the oven. Winter dawned dry and brittle on day 18 of Advent, the kind of cold that made the railings of Willow Creek ring as if they were tuning up for a concert. But inside Pinecone Morning, the atmosphere was so tense it could have been cut with a cookie cutter. Marian arrived early, ready to prepare the day's special batch. Piña ran toward the door as always. But stopped, confused. There was no box. No green ribbon, nothing. Marian froze. "Well," she shrugged, pretending, "it's fine. I don't need mysterious boxes anyway. Lie number 16 of the month." Piña flopped dramatically on the rug. Before Marian could process anything, the bell above the door chimed. In walked Susan Bloom, president of the Cookie Contest Committee for 20 years and self-appointed guardian of tradition. "Marian," she greeted, with a smile that looked frozen at -15 degrees Celsius. "Susan, coffee?" "No, I came to talk about this." She pulled out her phone and showed her a photo. Marian squinted. In the image, she and Logan inside the café, laughing together while rolling out dough. Very close. Too close. "What is this?" Marian asked, feeling her stomach tighten. "What it looks like," Susan said. "Your helper. And the town is uneasy. The contest is very serious, Marian. You can't have a professional helping you, giving you an advantage. He's not helping me with the contest. Not technically. He's just, Susan raised an eyebrow. "People say you're using your charm to gain favoritism." A burning sting rushed up Marian's chest. "Excuse me?" "I'm not saying it. The town is saying it, of course." The famous town, that abstract entity that always wants to stick its nose into your love life. Marian clenched her fists. "My private life is not committee business," Susan sighed. "Marian, we all know what you've been through. And we want you to do well. But if you're getting involved with a young, attractive, very helpful paramedic, people will talk." Marian felt her ears burn. "That paramedic has a name. And he's my friend. A very intense friendship," Susan said, narrowing her eyes. "You should keep your distance until the contest is over. For integrity?" It took Marian several seconds not to throw a baking tray through the window. Susan left satisfied, trailing behind her a cloud of Christmas perfume and passive-aggressive venom. Piña barked once. "Exactly," Marian said. "This stinks." Later that same day, Logan arrived with his jacket still damp from the snow and a slightly tired smile.
"Hey," he said, giving Piña a scratch behind the ears.
"Everything okay?" Marian didn't smile. Logan blinked. "Did something happen?" "Yes," she replied. "And it has to do with you." He immediately sobered. "Are you okay?" "No, I'm not." Marian took a deep breath. "Susan came this morning. And she said people think you have too much influence on my recipes." Logan frowned. "Influence? I've only tasted things. And adjusted the oven. And that," Marian said, throwing her hands up. "That's exactly what people are saying. That you're helping me win. That it's unfair. But it's not true. It doesn't matter. They believe it." Logan stayed silent for a moment. "Then, what do you want me to do?" Marian swallowed. She didn't want to say it. She didn't even want to think it. But the old wound, the voice of her ex telling her she wasn't made to compete, woke up like a rude ghost. "I think we should keep some distance," she said at last. "Until the contest is over." Logan's eyes darkened slightly, not with anger, but with something deeper. "Distance?" "Just for now." Marian said, feeling each word tighten inside her. I don't want people saying I'm taking advantage of you, he inhaled slowly. You're not taking advantage of me. I'm here because I want to be here. Marian shook her head. But the town talks, and I can't afford that. Not now. A heavy silence fell, like snow piling up on a roof. Logan took a small step back. Very small. But enough. I understand, he said, his voice low, contained. I don't want to cause you trouble. That's not... It is exactly that, Marian. Her own words hit her like a blow. Logan, he raised a hand. You don't have to explain more. He put on his jacket. Take care, okay? Piña ran to him, as if trying to stop him from leaving. Logan knelt, scratched behind her ears. I'll be fine, little one. Then he straightened, opened the door, and just before stepping out, he said something that cut straight through Marian's chest. Just remember one thing. Marian, other people talking doesn't make them right. The door closed with a sharp click. Marian stood still. Piña whimpered, and for the first time since December began, she didn't want to bake anything. The morning of day 23 of Advent dawned wrapped in a thick fog, so white that Willow Creek looked as if it were floating inside a giant mug of hot chocolate. But inside Pinecone Morning, the atmosphere wasn't cozy. It was empty. Marian had been preparing the dough for her final contest recipe for hours, moving like a ghost in a red apron. Her oven, her pride, had decided to become temperamental that morning. The first trays came out too pale, the second too dark, the third simply didn't rise. No, Marian whispered, clenching her fists. No, no, no. Piña paced nervously around her feet like a small brown cloud of anxiety. I know, Piña, but I can't fail now, not after... Her voice broke, after pushing him away. After being a coward. After listening to voices that shouldn't matter anymore, and then she saw something that should not have been there. A box, day 24. Green ribbon, craft paper. Leaving a small dry circle in the snow on the doorstep. Piña barked once, as if granting permission. Marian opened the box with trembling hands. Inside she found a sealed envelope, a tiny wooden spoon with a carved star, and a note. You don't have to do this alone. Marian swallowed hard. Her chest trembled. She opened the envelope. Inside was a hand-drawn map. Extremely simple. An arrow. The back door of the café. A tiny star symbol. Marian blinked. What? Piña was already running toward the back of the shop. The back door was slightly open. And outside, under a makeshift awning to shield from the snow, something shone like a scene pulled straight from a Christmas dream. An entire baking station set up on 2 folding tables. A small portable oven, a mixing bowl. Bags of flour, butter, spices, gloves, clean towels. Small white lights hanging from a cord. And in the middle of everything, Logan, dark jacket, gray beanie, hands in his pockets, trembling smile. Not his usual one, a more vulnerable one, more honest. Hi, Marian, he said without moving. She brought a hand to her mouth. What is all this? A bit of help, he replied, the right amount. The kind that doesn't interfere with the contest but does with your stress. I don't want you to lose because your oven decided to rebel. She stepped forward. The snow crunched beneath her boots. Logan, I shouldn't have asked you to keep your distance. I let myself get carried away by what others said, and I know, he said gently, and it hurt. But I'm not here for that. Then why are you here? He smiled softly. Because I love you. Marian felt a violent heartbeat, like a soft blow from inside. Don't say that just to fix things. I'm not saying it to fix anything, he replied, taking a step toward her. I'm saying it because it's true. I love you, Marian, just as you are. Strong, stubborn, brilliant. And incredible with butter, she let out a broken laugh. He continued. And I know you love me too. I know it by the way you look at me when you think I'm not watching. But you're afraid people will make you feel small again. Marian closed her eyes. I'm afraid of loving someone I shouldn't, or someone who won't stay. He reached out, brushing her arm with just his fingertips. I'm staying. I'm not an Advent whim, Marian. I'm your partner, if you'll let me be. She opened her eyes slowly. Logan, he he murmured. "You don't have to say anything today. Just tell me if you want me to leave." She looked at him, really looked. And the answer rose like a warm fire from deep inside. "I don't want you to leave," she whispered. His eyes smiled. "Then come here." Marian crossed the distance between them. Logan welcomed her with a hand at her waist, gentle, asking permission, offering everything. Their lips met. Slow at first, exploring, recognizing, then the kiss deepened, soft but hungry. Warm like a freshly baked cookie. Their bodies moved closer until no breath fit between them. Piña barked, spinning in circles as if celebrating a goal. Logan rested his forehead against hers. "Do you want to bake with me?" "Yes," she whispered. "And I also want—" He looked at her, waiting. "I want you to come home with me tonight," she said, with a newly awakened courage. Logan closed his eyes for a second, inhaling as if holding back too much joy. "Whenever you want." They baked together, shoulder to shoulder, laughing, tasting raw dough, bumping hips accidentally, letting themselves fall into each other. She kissed him with flour on his cheek. He kissed her back with warm hands on her spine. The cookies turned out perfect, but that night, everything that happened after baking them was even better. No details. No explanations. Just a door closing, a soft laugh, and two silhouettes moving closer under the warm lights of Marian's apartment. The dawn of December 25th slipped through the curtains of Marian's apartment with a softness almost shy, as if it knew better than to interrupt too early. The golden light fell across the room at the perfect angle, illuminating the bed, the tangled sheets. And Piña, fast asleep, curled into a brown ball at the foot of the mattress. Marian opened her eyes slowly. She blinked. She felt warmth. She felt an arm around her waist. And then she remembered everything. Not with embarrassment, not with doubt. With a slow, inevitable smile, she turned gently. Logan was sleeping on his back, breathing calmly, his hair messy in every direction. He looked younger like this, less burdened, as if the night shift and all his worries had evaporated while he slept beside her. Marian watched him 1 second longer than was appropriate. Great destiny. This is already emotional softcore. Logan opened one eye without moving. "Don't stop looking at me yet," he murmured, voice rough with sleep. She jumped slightly. "You were awake. Since you said this is already emotional softcore." Marian covered her face with the sheet. "I did not say that out loud." "It was that, or you thought it really loudly," he laughed. Piña, alerted by the sound of human laughter, stretched her body and walked up to Logan's chest, where she flopped down as if he were her personal pillow. "Total betrayal," Marian muttered. Logan scratched behind Piga's ear. "Piga's, not Marian's. She knows who's in charge," he said. "The dog or you?" "Depends on the schedule," he answered with a dangerously charming smile. Marian felt warmth in her cheeks. That kind of warmth. "I'm making coffee," she announced, fleeing from the intensity. "I'm coming with you," he said, getting up. They both searched for clothes amid quiet laughter and soft bumps. Logan put on a light t-shirt that fit him far too well. Marian pulled on the thick sweater she always wore on cold mornings. Piña followed them downstairs with the dignity of a very important person. The kitchen was filled with the smell of freshly ground coffee and the comforting sweetness of the award-winning cookies from the night before. Logan prepared 2 mugs while Marian warmed some milk. Their movements together were surprisingly natural, as if they had rehearsed that dance for weeks. "You should stay every morning," she said without meaning to. He turned his head. She swallowed. "I mean, if you want to." Marian set her mug on the counter. "Logan," she whispered. He turned to her, serious now. "I don't want to be an advent romance, Marian. I don't want to be a pretty parenthesis. I want to stay. With you, whatever that means." Piña sat between them, acting as an emotional referee. Marian took a deep breath. For the first time in years, she didn't feel afraid. "Then stay," she said. His smile was so wide it felt like the kitchen expanded.
He walked toward her slowly, as if respect were part of the movement. He stroked her cheek.
She kissed him. He wrapped an arm around her waist. And Piña barked because in this house no one ignored Piña for more than 10 seconds. "You're a tyrant, boss," Logan laughed, lifting the tiny poodle into his arms. Marian leaned against the counter, watching them both. I have to be at the contest in an hour, she said. You're going to win. It's not a life or death competition. For me it is, he said with theatrical solemnity. I made a bet with the ambulance driver. Marian burst out laughing. You bet my pastry on her? I bet you're the best in town. She stepped closer and rested a hand on his chest. I've already won, Logan. He looked at her with a warmth that disarmed her. Because of me? Because of me, she said firmly. Because this time I chose from here, she touched her heart, and not from fear. At the cookie contest, Marian's table looked perfect. Golden stars, shiny icing, the aroma of vanilla and orange. The judges tasted, murmured, smiled. She didn't win first prize. She received a special mention, taste of home. Marian felt tears in her eyes. Logan hugged her from behind. Piña barked in celebration. And the whole town understood something important. That year, Advent had brought more than cookies. It had brought a beginning. That night, as they walked through Willow Creek decorated with white lights, Logan took Marian's hand. She squeezed his back. You know what? Marian said. If this is how the morning of the 25th starts, let all the others come, Piña barked, approving, like the boss signing off on the future.
And if you enjoyed this story, subscribe and go watch another one.